So, as a person who's a journalist and really into reading and the facts and that sort of thing, I constantly have to struggle with whether I should say something when information comes home in my kid's backpack from school that, has some inconsistencies, something that's wrong with it. For example, they're still teaching the fairy tale version of Thanksgiving and glossing over Christopher Columbus without any mention of his savagery. And I teach my kid, we don't always need to make a big deal out of everything. Sometimes we can speak up, maybe tell your friends at lunch, but, give the teacher the answer they want. But in this case, I'm going to make a small, a minor exception. I might even say something I haven't decided yet. Let me know what you think. So, despite what's taught at my child's school, cranberries are not the top crop in the Commonwealth, okay? The cannabis or cranberry quagmire is far less important, of course, than one's understanding of this country's sickening past, but it's something I can personally explain much easier, and which my kid can maybe even clear up in class without becoming a social pariah, okay? So, frankly, the chasm between this agricultural truth and what's probably still taught at most schools in Massachusetts is as wide as that which separates the real plight of Native Americans and your typical preschool Thanksgiving stage play deep in the excerpts. It has been for more than 3 years. In November 2022, the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission announced this historic toppling, all right? Citing a report, the agency wrote in a press release that year, now 3 years ago, that the dollar value associated with adult use cannabis products in the Commonwealth is $361 million, while the next highest ranked is cranberries, pulling in $66 million in 2021. Okay, friends, the gap's only widened since. Even if you attempt to account for the vast difference between can and cran, like how the latter's rarely sold in dual chamber vapes with collectible packaging, there's no contest. All right, according to USDA's 2024 agricultural overview of Mass, and the federal agency, by the way, of course, doesn't track cannabis farming, the total value of cranberry production for last year was about $78 million in the state. All right, cannabis eclipsed that sum in any given month, with adult use sales reaching 10 times that total in the first half of 2025 on the way to another billion-dollar year. All right, so I understand that textbooks and worksheets can be outdated, and I don't think my kid's school or any other has bad intentions on this front. But stigmas and misinformation around cannabis have caused enough damage. If we sow the simple truth that cannabis is the top crop in Mass, and maybe even told kids that tens of thousands of their parents, aunts, and uncles earn a living growing and selling the stuff, it could go a long way to normalizing a substance that has harmed infinitely fewer children than ignorance over the course of American history. Peace.